And we are back. As I told you, it's only a few minutes before we jump into the pick and ban. We are 2 minutes away. So, this is why I want to tackle this one because it seems like it's pivotal for this matchup between Raid and Astralis. So far, it seems Astralis is reading the champion select in a really powerful way. How can Raid approach this one? And what champions are we expecting to see since Raid Gaming picked blue side?
Well, that is a really good question, Ashram. I think we
That's
shouldn't.
why I did
We
it.
shouldn't.
That's
I think we shouldn't sugarcoat it. I think while
good.
Wraith has been drafting some really interesting draft that they could have won, right? I feel like they are not making. I think the game is for sure not lost in draft, but
Mhm.
we have to identify that there is a bit of a hand diff in this series right now. I feel like Astralis, while they are, Taxer leading the team in terms of communication, I feel like they're also on top in terms of their mechanics. I mean, they feel like they're just outplaying them a bunch of times, and when that is happening, it's really hard, especially as a coach, to tell your players like, "Oh, we're gonna do this and we can win," because in the end, maybe, just maybe, you're facing better players, and then you really, really need to dig deep to find something to win. I mean, I'm having a struggle to find it.
So if that is the case, that's when usually coaches and Tom Kick help me if I'm saying anything barbaric on this point. When you know something is happening inside of the rift that you can't help your team, that's usually when you look into the team and say, let's pick easy to execute teams where you can just go on the team fights. And even if you burn a few cooldowns just to take two targets out, it's still a 5v3 afterwards. Is this the approach you think Raid should take? Because it seems like there's a difference inside of the game.
Yeah, I think so, because it's the two things, like it's easy to play and it's curveballs. And I feel like we've seen the curveballs and it hasn't really been working. So this is where you step back and like, okay, let's do it simple. Now, Hecarim has been open, like from what I've
Yeah.
seen actually. So I feel like, okay, if you're going super simple, we go like Death Ball comp with like Hecarim, Seraphine, Teamfight Champ with like Aphelios String, something like just have it easy to execute. You just go as a 5-man unit and then you run down the enemy. And that's the one thing that really worked out the second game for 8, when you just group up as 5, and then, okay, we need that one pick. We need to do one thing. So keep it simple like this. So Deathball Comfort could for sure work for them, I think.
Well, let's see if that is going to be the tactic for Raid on the third and decisive match versus Astralis quarterfinals in Aurora Open. Caitlyn, yet again, let's see that Yumi. Let's see everything else again. So far, also, Edel's champion pool has been affected every single time on the second rotation of bans. So maybe they can prioritize something for Edel just to give him something more comfortable. We haven't seen the Casio. It was banned on the first game. The Yone didn't quite shine the way we are used to seeing it, but it's the Caitlyn, it's the Nami, it's the Yuji. Where's the Yumi? Do it. Udyr, I know Trouble is happy when she sees this band, so that is happening. It's not going to change.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna expect to be the Aatrox fan as well, right? Probably for Astralis, unless they really wanna be disrespectful towards Wraith. I think, I think it's what we all kind of agreed upon, gentlemen, that they should just draft out Death Ball comp and really hope that they're not getting too far behind in lanes, so they can force the objectives when they want. I feel like that was the kind of the issue last game. Do you know the replay we first took a look upon when Kiba got caught in the jungle? That was not because Wraith found an engage on them. It was literally just him walking into them. But in that game, they really struggled. That they didn't really have that many tools to work with. But now Yulbu, we're in his world, and now he finally gets his hands on a jungler that he can play tempo with, and he can full clear with and become a beast upon. I mean, this is you said it, Tom Kick. The third game in a best of 5 series, the hardest one to win. And I think with this great first pick, Yulbu is making it just a little bit harder for Astralis.
It's interesting. I like it. I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna fix it again. I'm not sure I like the Viego here because I think Graves is gonna have a really good time just playing back from the engages of Viego. Now it's more of Wraith being okay. Let's be a little bit more laid back. We've tried to do things. We tried to be crazy. We tried to go in, but now it's on to Astralis. Now they are on the nerves lake trying to actually get the third game. So I hope they play more onto the backside and then playing to help Yulbu out. Now he doesn't. Oh, yeah, I like to save it too. He's not like super tanky. He won't be able to frontline anything. Like he can go for, of course, the Gore Drinker build where he will be able to do more. But I feel like this point it's all about like, okay, have the peel back tools. Now you have the movement speed with Sivir, you have the peeling tool with a seared range. I feel like this is something that could really work for Raid so far.
Okay, Akali on the hands of Senkux. That's a nice one, a nice sight to behold. But as you were talking about, I think they're getting some priority picks on right. They're now trying to carry every lane so far seems a menace, including the jungle, for them bringing those danger factors. But my question to you guys is, so far, do you think this combo is easy to execute in favor of Wraith, or it's just pray you don't fall that far behind?
I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, you have 2, now even 3 carries. Severe can really, I hope she can sustain herself in the lane while Julbo is, because Julbo is not gonna be really practiced this game, and so far, I mean, he doesn't really have the laners to do it anyways. So I think for now, I mean, it looks kind of solid. I would like them to round this comp up with a solid, decent tank, but knowing Curl, he's probably not gonna do that. But I would hate to see another carry on top, because you already have so much damage on your team. You need something utility-wise on the side of Raider to round up the comp.
Yeah, this
When I
is
saw the
where.
Ornn, I was confused. Like, yeah, that would be the pick. Tell me, Tom.
Yeah, it's all about, okay, guys, we tried. I had my carry moments in the top lane. I'll do the tank duty. I'll do the honors in this game 3 and try to get the morale back in maybe a potential game for it if it goes. But at this point, when you look at Astralis side, there's so much creativity. You have the Akali, you have the Viego set off with the Varus. It can be really difficult. It can be dangerous. But Wraith, they need to be extremely good at just being patient. Because if they start like wanting to do stuff, start wanting to make plays, then it becomes a lot harder. And if you also lock in this Soraka, you need a frontline. Please, for heaven's sake. Like, I love Soraka. I'm a Soraka player, a lover of the Church of Soraka, but please have a frontline, man.
He's gonna pick Teemo. Like, okay, I got Teemo. Don't worry, guys. No, that would be interesting. Bring a Sion on, even the Maokai into the top line. I know it's a blind pick and probably got okay. I know Tom is now hurting inside if this is locked in.
Okay, I respect that. I respect.
Hey!
I think good enough. Like, I didn't expect her.
Thank you.
Okay. So I mean, this will have to do, right? I think it's okay. Like, I think it's decent. I think Wraith can. I mean, they can really. I think every lane can kind of hold on their own this game, and this is exactly what Jubu wants. I think you really hope that they can track Taxer in this one, because if they don't, he is gonna find the opportunities to get ganks going. And the Gragas, such a good counter into the next one.
Yep. It's good luck to the top side. Carlson, if he pilots this one, is going to be a hard day for the Crocodile. A lot of AD comes into the team of Wraith. It's only Errol to bring that AP. We are now on match point, gentlemen. I would like to know your predictions. M-Test, do you still believe in the 3-0 clean sweep from the stars? Or is anything changing in your heart?
I mean, I'm sorry, Wraith. I think I like what you're cooking up every game. I think this one adaptation is good. I like your teamfight comp, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. Sadly, I think Astralis gonna take this one.
Okay, Tom Kick.
I'm gonna stick to my word. I think this is the game where Wraith comes back. You know, the one game they get, and then Astralis is like they take the fourth one. This is the Church of Soraka. I believe in the game.
Somehow he still believes in that one on the Soraka. Soraka is going to make everything better. I think you also need a heal from Soraka to yeah, there's something wrong, Tom Kick. Now, without further ado, let's toss it to the caster. Is it Trouble Inc. in Hip Brain? And I'm so happy Graves was picked. Are you not happy, Trouble? Graves is amazing jungler.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Trouble looks very happy. Trouble, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you believe in the Church of Banana? What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, first of all, I think Soraka is absolutely and utterly broken as a champion. I think he's extremely strong, especially towards the mid to later stages of the game. What I don't necessarily think is very strong is picking Graves when you do not have lanes that can stand alone very easily. You have an Azir into an Akali. We all know that Akali does have kill pressure after level 6. That Akali is in the hands of Senkux, who is known for 3 champions. He's LeBlanc, he's Silas, and he's Akali. And then you have bot lane where Varus and Renata after level 6 will also have kill pressure onto the Severe and the Soraka. And then top lane, we've actually seen quite a bit this matchup at Worlds where like Gragas, yes, will suffer a little bit in the early game, but all in all, Renekton does not necessarily have too much kill pressure onto him, especially if Carlson plays this carefully, up to the point where he has his Spammy Cinder. He can pressure his wave pretty easily. Then he has a couple of points into his W, and he can sustain. He has much shorter cooldowns on the Gragas as well. So all in all, this is a very much stabilized map for the side of Astralis that if they wish to get prior over a lane, they will. The reason you pick a Graves is just so you can wreak havoc in the enemy jungle. You rotate into enemy chickens, you steal them away, you bully the opponent out. Now, a jungle that you cannot necessarily do this into is Viego, because he's extremely slippery and he holds his own pretty well into a Graves.
Absolutely. Well.
Yeah, so basically the sentiment is if your name is not Cannon, don't pick Graves. Thank you.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Thank you for your TLDR and also long version of it. You know, what's it called? I never did like the writing bit in uni because I dropped out.
Too long, didn't read.
No, you have like
what?
you do your thesis and then you have like your synopsis at the bottom. Yeah, thesis and synopsis. That's what you did there.
Oh, they're both Greek words. Pretty good.
Oh wow, I did not know they were Greek words. But then again, a lot of like smart people stuff comes from Greece. You know, first philosophers and all that.
Yeah, I guess. A lot of the medical terms are pretty Greek as well.
Yeah, I mean, like philosophy came from Greece. That's pretty smart.
Sure. Yeah, sure, but it's never really been my forte. I was more into maths.
Okay, so, yeah, you might not be a philosopher. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'll give you that.
Nowhere near. Not just a philosopher, but nowhere near.
Oh, Flash is getting traded out in the bot lane. Not going to be able to get caught by that handshake. Jamzu still in COVID mode and avoiding getting into touch and distance. As Sin is just going to try and just shove this wave out. But the level advantage to Astralis is a bit of a nuisance for Rate already. But we'll see, you know, maybe there could be some a world where stuff could go down. As actually, we do look at the junglers quickly. Taxa is on the blue side, while Jobu is also on the blue side. So these junglers started on the opposite sides of the map from one another and are clearing in opposite directions. As Chrisberg's a little bit low. Shield comes in from Kiba though, and he will be A-okay. As Kiba gets a cheeky handshake off onto Jamzu, just forces him away.
But as you can see, both junglers are full clearing right now. Both junglers have completely cleared the red side. They're going to exchange blue sides. They're going to go into the Scuttle Crab and then rinse and repeat. Again, Viego is a jungler that can keep up with the likes of a Graves. He's not quite as fast, but he's very slippery. He doesn't get contested in his own jungle. If he wants to take a fight, he can. If he wants to evade a fight, he also can. And as you can see, full clear both junglers at the same time at the Scuttle Crab. Taxer on his Viego as well, who he's very, very known for, and takes the reset first. But here, Jobo might put a ward down over on the chickens, or might look even for second, so he's pushed into the lane. He's used his shroud as well.
Looks like he's okay, though. Looks like he's going to be able to make his way out of that one. And this time, Senkux not being quite as dominant in lane as you would somewhat expect from the Akali.
Okay, that was very clever. So what happened here is Taxa did red into golems into chickens. So Jobo tried to go for the chicken invade to take them away, but because Taxa took them as the third camp, it takes a little bit longer to reset, which means Jobo doesn't get to enter the enemy jungle, doesn't get to steal anything away, and Taxa gets his own jungle for free.
That was really smart, actually, there by Taxa. I mean, if Taxa, if anything, is a very efficient jungler. He knows his pathing, he understands his camps and how to juggle all of that and his rotations. So I'd say that is definitely one of Taxa's biggest strengths as a jungler. It's just his ability to be, you know, very on point with it. Is Jamzu getting a couple of those blighting stacks on him, but the wave's a bit too big for Astralis to continue this trade any further. They are going to look for a bit of damage onto Jamzu. I think if that had hit with the procs on, with the W bits on, passive, it could have probably been a dead Jamzu, but Jamzu going to be A-okay. Chrisberg's a little bit low. Kiba blinded. Kiba low HP is able to move away to safety. That was very, very close. As they are going to look for the arrow. Oh, there it is. Chrisberg with first blood.
Very well done, Chrisberg. 3 games in a row with the first kill of the game. Taxa's heading towards that bot lane as well. He's going to cut off Jobo from getting back into the jungle. And at this point, Taxa, an entire level up. He can also move up, get into Jobo's jungle as well, invade the chickens, take him away. Senkax, as you can see, is pretty healthy in the mid lane, has the ultimate up and available. Both mid lanes have actually backed, reset, tip it back into their lanes. But so far, Taxa is going to play it pretty slow and safe. His bot lane wants to reset, so he's just going to continuously keep on farming his jungle. And right here, the whole trade that's going on is because Jamsu doesn't have flash onto this Soraka. The heal is going to come through. The ignite's going to go down for Kiba, but they can't quite kill him. Jolbo needs to stay around to make sure that Raid's bot lane secures that bot lane wave underneath Astralis' tower, but Jamsu ends up going down on the tower.
Yeah, really nice shot there by Chrisberg, though, able to pick up that first blood. And we saw what happened when he got first blood in the first game. He really, really took over. Previous game, he still took over, but it just took him a little bit longer. So we'll see what he can do with this as Astralis going to use the pressure that they've got in the bot and the mid right now to turn it into a dragon. Sin looking for the damage onto Chrisberg, but unable to connect it. As Kiba now moving his way over. This dragon will go over, so Rate will know that there is a jungler in the area. And they are just going to look to back off as Chrisberg catches in on the wave. Carlson continues to play weak side here. As expected in this. I say weak side, but I mean, you're able to trade versus Curl weak side. Very comfortable. He does have the R. If Curl overextends, Curl could be in trouble.
Honestly, we saw this matchup, if I'm not wrong, it was Odo Amne versus 369 that Gragas into the Renekton. And even though the Renekton looks really strong in the early, Gragas just neutralizes. He doesn't necessarily care too much about the trades. Once he has a few points in his W, he gets to out-sustain as well. His trades are pretty good. His body slam stops and engages, as we can see on the screens right now from the Renekton as well. So not only is he able to sustain, but at some point onward, when he has his Bami Cinder, he's also out-trading that lane. So not only is he weak side, but he's also neutralizing a very early to mid-game threat, which is Renekton. He's not allowing Graves to get any pressure towards that top side of the map. Bot lane has got already a kill, and we know how Chrisberg snowballs these past 2 games, especially when he gets 1 kill under his belt. And then Senkax has kill pressure over your Azir. Unless that Graves comes up really, really clutch for Jobo, I don't see a way into the fights.
No, and I mean, Taxa, we saw how effective he was in game 1 on that Viego as well. He was just so on point with it. And his ability to kind of, hold on to those forms to save it for, like, the best times in the fight to be able to reset and sustain himself through the fight. And also, in this game, he's done a fantastic job of already getting himself an early dragon. He's turning his attention in as they go for the flash handshake from Kiba. Little bit of an overextension there by Kiba, not actually able to really find the damage find the CC.
Meanwhile,
to stick. But meanwhile, bot lane, Chrisberg is killed.
I was about to say, one chain of corruption. I saw Sin's flash go down. He tried to flash chain of corruption, but I'd love to see what happens after this. But hold on, need to take a brief break because we're gonna have a Rift Herald fight. Mind you, Kiba is level 6. While Soraka does not have that wish yet available.
Yeah, this would be a terrifying fight if that ultimate does connect. And here we go. They're going to throw everything down. There goes the hostile takeover. Only lands onto Errol, though, which is not quite enough. But Carson's on the flank. They're going to jump in. The belly buff onto 2. Senkax slides through with the perfect execution, finishing them up. Carlson's able to sustain for just a little bit longer and long enough to survive thanks to the bailout. And this is Astralis just absolutely rolling Rate. They'll get the Herald. They'll get the kills. Someone needs to pick up the eye. Guys, get the eye, please. Okay, Kiba's getting it.
I'll do it, guys.
Go down. And a little bit too hard there, but they get the eye. They're okay.
The support was like, guys, don't get overexcited. We got the Herald. The Herald? Guys, who got the Herald? Everyone goes back to base. No one got the Herald. It's okay, we got the kills. This is well played. But again, Chrisberg with a solo bolo. We literally just said how he manages to snowball the lane every time he gets a singular kill. He's done it 3 games in a row. So let's see that bot lane. 1 versus 1 again. He's gonna not connect the arrow. It was a pretty sealed, and that's the flash on the chain of corruption. So how in the world do you kill Sin? Oh, he has a ward right behind him, and he chases him through the slow. Sin stands back. And they Q auto. Fully stacked Little Tempo as well is what ends up sealing the deal right there for Chrisberg. And again, very serious here, very serious note. Had Jamsu been level 6 onto that Soraka, I think this fight could end up being completely different. Being able to put that multi-heal down is incredible, but also Carlson right here with an amazing flank, getting that flash body slam onto 2 and Senkax executing everyone. You see how everyone is like almost surviving on a sliver of health, and the bailout actually bailing Carlson out of the situation, or he would have died. Had there been a wish, you see how low a lot of the HP bars on Astralis were. The handshake.
Oh, Jamsu! He is turned into Jam. They've already got a whole bunch of damage onto this tower. Kiba has the Herald, and yeah, that's a dead tower. That's a secured dragon as well. And luckily for Rate, Jolbu is on the bottom side of the map, so he will be here to help make sure that they don't get a second charge down. But just a phenomenal start to the game here for Astralis.
I mean, they've got the entire platings bot lane, they've got the dragon, they're going to get the next dragon as well since they have the pressure and spawns in 30 seconds. They got the Rift Herald, they're neutralizing pressure top lane. Now the question is, I think I saw Torok in the chat a little bit ago, and whoever wins this series is going to be playing versus JDXL. I hope they're actually watching because Astralis looks extremely freaking strong in this particular series. They seem to individually be outclassing their opponents, but also moving together in such a good macro sense where I feel like, again, Carlsen was the guy that we're talking about where we're like, this guy needs resources, he's very young, he will learn. He learned! In half a split, he learned. He learned how to hold his own without resources to make sure that even when he's targeted, he stays up in levels, he stays up in experience, he stays up in gold, like he did in his Gwen game #1. And actually, Senkax, with his play-making champions, he has way too many of them to choose from. Taxa, I feel like this guy has been literally everywhere on the map. And Crispback, every time he's gotten a kill, he snowballed the lane. So I think JDXL should be watching this series and starting to devise a plan on how to beat Astralis, because this team looks extremely strong.
Yeah, they really do. It's honestly, I think kind of going back to Carlsen, it's such a good thing to see that kind of growth and that kind of intelligence develop over just a year as well. It shows a lot of promise as well when a player is able to kind of pick up, you know, on their mistakes and in a year show us a vast improvement. You know, they show us that they're still capable and not shying away from playing that aggressive style, but they're also very capable of playing, you know, their weaker styles, someone who's actually able to handle it. And, you know, as much as this has been a fairly one-sided series so far, Curl still has been a relatively decent top laner. There was a reason MTS was talking about him at the beginning of the day, and Carlsen's done a great job of either basically slamming him in lane or holding his own versus the ganks while Jolbu spends loads of time top lane, or in this final game, just show us that he's a capable player in all the regards. The Senkux does try and proto belt into Curl's pocket and finish him up, but Curl is able to avoid a wave. Senkux will be able to clear out this wave and make sure that Carlsen isn't going to just be losing waves to nothing there, as Sin very low HP. All it takes is a little bit more to find him, but he's going to be able to survive and able to move away.
This is the clever thing right here. Sin was being very patient with his shield because Crispy could use Chain of Corruption at any point, and Sin has Cleanse, but he also has his own spell shield if he wants to not get hit by it. But because Crispbeck was playing in his face, Sin had to do nothing else but take the auto attacks. But Carol right here, very nice, clears the wave really quickly to avoid getting dived. And Crispbeck in a 1 versus 2, he's fighting in, he's taking it.
Oh, he's looking for it, but he's not quite got the damage. Jams his heel is big, but it's not big enough. And in comes Senkux, a 2-0 for Astralis in the fight. Beautifully played by Crispbeck, able to hold on fast. Sure, the tower will survive, but man, that was phenomenal from Crispberg.
Oh man, I'm just so happy to see Crispbeck in this meta. The Kaisers, the Zayas, the Lethal Tempo Varus, anything that plays and wants to play in your face is very enjoyable to see from this guy. And honestly, the 1v2 in the mid lane, he takes Wish, he takes Emerald, he takes Flash, he takes heal from Soraka. He took everything. He took 2 lives right there. They get pressure in that mid lane tower. Meanwhile, bot lane's been cleared out by Carlsen. Top lane's been constantly shoved out by Senkax. After he dived to get the kill, he went over the top side. Really good, clean macro movements on the map from Astralis. They get the kills, but it's not enough. You need to push them up, and they do just that, whilst Carlsen has found a toy.
Yeah, Jamsu is able to move away, but Jolbu's found Crispberg's found Jolbu. The flashes come out. The Boomerang Blade does a phenomenal amount of damage, but Crispberg's feeling A-okay. Carlsen jumps in forwards, and with Crispberg a little bit too low, I think Astralis are going to back off. He has got the sustain thanks to the shield bow, so he should be okay as Curl trying to deal with this tower. Senkux is actually going to answer out with him in kind. He's got a lot of damage. Lands the Shuriken flip. He's got that perfect execution ready to throw down, but Curl has come in. There's the flash forward. The follow-up is going to come in, and a kill is easy pickings for the side of Astralis as Jolbu's heartbroken by Taxa, who takes him down.
And 3 things are certain in this life, they say, right? Death, Taxis and Senkax
Taxa.
playing together with Taxa the whole game. You look around, Senkax is trying to make a play. Of course, Taxa is going to be around to support him. This mid-jungle duo we highlighted from the very beginning, and that's because that's how it has gone from the beginning of the summer split. In spring split, Astralis were all about the bot lane. Taxa playing for Crispec didn't quite work that well for them. Over in summer is a Senkax Taxa show, and with Kiba being added in, it feels like Crispec has also been unlocked on his own in the bot lane on that 2 versus 2. It's also all over the map. Of course, we're talking a lot about narratives because this game is pretty much done and dusted. This series is pretty much done and dusted, but maybe Raid have one last word.
Yeah, they're going to try one last desperation play, but Astralis read it. Forward from the hostile takeover. It's unable to connect. And Raid got a little bit too over-eager onto a play onto Senkax and are forced away. But they don't lose anybody, crucially.
The poor thing is like, Carl is like, I'm on a flank. Astralis just shows up with 5 members pulling the teleports in from Carlson as well. Cuba playing aggressive with the flash. You can see that right now. They're feeling fired up. And of course, there's 7,000 gold in the lead. 204 for the Viego, 403 for the Akali, 401 for the Varus. They've all got almost 2 items in their inventory completed. Kiba has also got a stopwatch for himself, because you would think that he's the squishiest member, so if anything, Raid would look to target him in a fight. Now that is not possible. Dragon's coming up in 4 seconds as well. It's going to be sole point for Astralis, and with everyone backing from the side of Raid and resetting, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a Dragon that they're going to contest.
Not at all. Astralis going to pick up this 3rd dragon. Nice and easy pickings for themselves. That wasn't a real turret. That wasn't a Zir turret that went down there. But 0-11. This is almost, well, it is at the moment a flawless game. No, they lost the tower. Okay, not a flawless game. Very close, though, for Astralis to almost have a flawless game. Just 1 tower difference as Curl is being absolutely obliterated by Senkax. He does have backup. Senkax has that perfect execution. Jumps into Jamzu's pocket, flashes away to safety. And Raid do not want to chase any further forward. They are going to get sent back. And the Rift Herald still in the pocket of Taxa. The pressure in this mid-siders. They have found Errol here, but he's been caught out by Carlson. The slow does come down from him. Tries to get the shuffle back. They get the stun off. Carlson throws out the cask. And actually, this might be the first Dex, but no, it won't. Because Astralis Carlson flashes forward and picks up that kill. Very patiently played by Carlson.
So Carlson has solo bowled whoever comes in the top lane in 3 games in a row. He's going to push in the top wave. Tax is going to assist with the Rift Herald towards that tier 2. It's a really difficult game to play for Raid. I will agree with Tom Kick. He said during the champ select, pick a tank top, anything. And Maokai, SH1, Orn was banned.
Wait, they get another charge.
Anything that can assist with that Soraka and Sivir. They need the frontline. They have the Azir, they have the Graves, but they need that frontline. And because Raid have not had that frontline because everyone's so squishy, Senkax has been able to find targets everywhere. They're going to take that top lane inhibitor as well. But the thing is, you don't want to take that inhibitor because if suddenly gold starts bleeding into Raid's base, you might find a way into getting more items and getting back into the game. But this is still a 7,000 gold lead for Astralis. 19 minutes in. They're going to be on Soul in 3.5 minutes when the next Mountain Dragon spawns as well. And right now, they're sitting pretty comfortably on around 2 items each.
Yeah, they're sitting very, very pretty right now. We are still holding on to see if there is any hope here for Raid. The gold lead just so big, 7,000. We're not even at the 20-minute mark. We're just about to tick over to it. It's a rough one for them, Trouble. I'm gonna be real with you. I have had 2 3-0s if this goes what I'm expecting here at the Aurora Cup. I've seen some pretty one-sided games when I've had both XL and Astralis play, who just looked absolutely phenomenal. So I'm excited to see how these guys are going to match up when they meet in the tournament later, because Sin is going down and Chrisberg unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Joel, he's waiting for somebody to step into there. But I mean, you're a level 11, you're literally a Graves and everyone is a level higher than you.
Yeah.
Unless he has snuck into this bush, looking maybe for a steal onto that Baron. All he needs is somebody with a blue ward to pop it in. They're going to do it right now.
No way.
He roughly knows the HP of that Baron.
No,
if he dashes in right now, dashes in
no,
right now.
It ain't happening, friend, because Chrisberg will deny you. Astralis taken out. Jamzu going down as well to Senkux. Astralis just looking so dominant in this series. We're at the 21-minute mark. The Baron is in the pocket of Astralis. They've already cracked open one of the lanes. An inhibitor is open and ready for them to take. And I think at this point, if 2 inhibitors go down, it's a surefire that the third will follow.
Absolutely. As you can see, 2 lanes have been shoved in at the same time. All Astralis has to do is pretty much shove in that wave and then actually back, reset, get your items. Crispec's going to hire an Angry Crocodile, but he does have Taxa around.
He does have Taxa, but the flashes come in. He's actually being chased down. The stopwatch is there. And Curl is heartbroken as an opportunity to get a 1,000 gold shutdown is denied as Senkux finds Jolbu, and Jolbu will not be long for the world. A lot of healing has come forward. The Soroka means that his life has been extended, and now Kiba has thrown out the ultimate. The stopwatch is used, but he is going to be going down. In comes the backup, though. The flash is there, and now it looks like Astralis won a little bit more, unable to make it work in their favor. They lose their support for free, effectively. Meanwhile, though, Chrisberg will continue to take down this tower, the final tower outside of the base for Astralis.
I have questions. Azir and Graves on the tops of the jungle, they're taking blue buff right here. If Astralis kept pushing with that wave, they could potentially get yet another inhibitor tower because Raid were not really quick on the rotation. But you're right, Kiba overextends, and this is where the overconfidence comes in, right? You're 10,000 gold in the lead, 20 minutes into the game. Of course, you're going to slap people in the face with your items. 3 items onto that Varus, 2.5 items working towards that death cap for Senkax's Akali as well. You're so extremely strong on the set of Astralis that you can actually afford to lose 1 or 2 if that nets you more neutral objectives on the map, which in this particular case, it was that bot lane tier 2 that Crispberg was pushing, but inevitably, Astralis are going to be getting that soul 10 seconds. Mount of Soul is going to come up. The jungle is going to get warded from the Astralis, but they're looking for a fight.
Yeah, they are. Sin loses half his HP in the meanwhile. They get the handshake off to deliver Curl into Carlson's face. An instant dominating kill. Jolbu will fall. Oh my god, that perfect execution gets 2 more, making it a triple for Senkux as Arrow is taken down. Senkux with the quadra kill, and Astralis just kicking it off in style. This is going to be the 3-0 for Astralis. It has been a dominating series and a dominating game number 3 as Astralis just come in smoking. They are on fire.
My questions here as Astralis literally blasted through their series is their opponents. We're moving towards the semifinals. JDXL are waiting for them in the semifinals. And honestly, Astralis right here are looking better than they did in like the summer split, honestly.
Yeah,
I feel like they're holding their own. Their macro has improved. And I don't know if it has to do with, you know, mentality changing. Meta has changed as well. Of course, Crispec gets to play the champions that he is known for. The Kaisas, the Zayas, the Varuses, all that stuff. He holds onto his own in the bot lane. You can see how much more aggressive he plays. And also, the Salases, the LeBlancs, the Akalis that came back this year have enabled Senkux and Taxa to play that duo that they want to play.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just a very, very dominating series from Astralis. I think, you know, there isn't a name on that lineup, but I can't go. They played really well today. Like, everybody played super well on the side of Astralis. But I have to give credit as where credit is due. Rate, especially in that game number 2, played very, very well. I mean, game 3, it felt like that game just slipped away and fell on completely apart. But game 1, there was good attention towards the top side, and they got Curl in a pretty confident position, but Carlson just was able to pull it back. Game 2, they were finding a lot of mistakes from Astralis and punishing them and keeping that game a lot more competitive. The problem is when Astralis get ahead, they get really ahead, and they know how to run with it. An absolutely phenomenal 3-0 there for Astralis. We're going to pass it over to the analyst, though, to break the day down. So, Archer, over to you.
Thank you so much, kind sir. We are back at the desk after this 3-0, as you said before, the test. And one thing that I like to do as a host is to listen to my desk, to pay attention to all the details and the promises and the analysis. And Tom, don't eat, Tom. third game is the hardest one to close. Yeah. Let's talk about this game. Let's talk about the beginning of the game because you picked the Renekton. You picked the Renekton for one specific thing, and I want to bring in the highlight. I want to bring in the replay for that one at 9 minutes, which is when the Herald was about to be fought off. Out of a sudden, there was a downfall from Raid. No,
Well, oh,
anybody can reply, but it seems like
I
I'm
feel
gonna
like there are
toss it
no
to
words.
Tempest.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there are. I mean, honestly, I have to give credit to Great. I feel like they kind of try to adapt a lot in draft, and this is really what all you can hope for. It didn't work out today, but usually you see a lot of teams they struggle in game one. Maybe they tried the same thing the second time, and it doesn't work anyway. So I feel like
There you
what
go.
they did, they adapted well, and I mean, this fight, you just see this is kind of where the game fell apart, right? I mean, you see Carlsen coming in here, clutch on the Gragas. He flashes in with the body slam, he gets two, and I mean, we just know it, right? Once Taxer and the Viego gets a reset, it's just impossible to win the fight for it.
There you
Oh,
go.
we get
This
the
is so
payload.
important. You get the Renekton specifically for one reason and one reason alone. It's not only by being a bully in the lane, but to get that Herald. And this also allowed Syncox to run amok in the game. And they fought, I think it was UMTest that brought in the information of they're fighting on the Heralds and they still don't have Sorak at level 6. This is going to be so bad for them. And I think that's the point. This is the point where everything just fell off short. Don't you agree, Tom?
Yeah, for sure. I think also this is where you also see the big individual differences. Where you see Kiba on the Renata is level 6 on the team fighter. That's what you usually want when you try to fight for the Heralds. You want at level 6, and when you're Soraka,
Yeah.
it's so huge. You get a global, everybody gets the healing. But level 5 there at that point, you are behind. Crocodile still not crocking enough, and it was just running down from that point. Almost a perfect game for Astralis.
Question for both of you. Let's start with you, M-Test. If you had to give the MVP today for any player on Astralis that stood out, who would you pick and why is it so difficult?
Uh, Actually, for me, it's not that difficult. I think
Okay,
Astralis,
hit me.
obviously, they're a well-oiled machine. But I think today, Chris Berger really stepped up to the plate. I mean, he was playing aggressive pretty much every minute of the game. Every time I was seeing him, he was stepping forward. And he was really like, he was playing on his edge the whole time, but not getting caught. So, I mean, I have to give credit to Chris Berger. That's my MVP for today.
Okay, what about you, Tom? Do you agree with that?
I agree. It's a good point. I really think he's been performing well, but I think I would give my MVP to Taxer actually. Like, even though the only thing I would like say downfall was maybe game 2 early game where it was a little bit sleepy, but on everything else he was just like phenomenal. He were where he needed to be. He was taking control over the fights. He was helping out the team, even though when he was on more low resource jungler and high resource jungler, he was just taking over the game. So I feel like very versatile today.
So at this point, it is Astralis moving on in the bracket quarterfinals. They move on to the semifinals. They're going to be facing JDXL, who are looking mean as well. So both teams are going to meet up once more like they did in Summer Split, but now it's for the Aurora Open. It's now also time to send it to a small break before we toss it back to the interviews, not only with Wright, but also with Astralis. I'll see you soon. Don't go anywhere. back representing Raid. Thanks, man. Welcome back to the interview. I know this is obviously not the score you were looking for, but what was Raid looking for once you joined this cup? What was the objective for this team? Because you're facing Division One team, and you know some teams are really powerful. What was in your mind the big objective for Raid?
Just to play it. I think it's pretty pointless. I think it's like the Aurora Open thing is pretty pointless. The rules, like, you can't bring back the NLC region superstars that's not on contract anymore. So yeah, you see people like X7 bringing in Division 4 3 players. I think that's pretty much explains how pointless it is. But it's been fun though. It's been really fun, and we get to play a lot of games. So in that sense, it's been a pleasure to play. This is also a shout out to NLC. Thanks for you. Please remove the stupid rules. If you look through Wikipedia, you can see other EILs have brought in NLC players and brought them back home. Apparently, that's allowed. So for next year, please do that.
Well, let's see if it happens. Let's see if it happens. Tell me another thing. Like, you worked with Raid on this split, and now you're finishing the year. What was your biggest takeaway from working with them and close with the players as well?
I think I've had like 15 different players this split.
Biggest takeaway. Just tell me the biggest takeaway. You don't need to talk about any player specifically. I just want to know your point of view, your biggest takeaway.
I think the reverse sweep against Native was pretty enjoyable. Losing the finals 3-0 was not it wasn't that good of an experience, I guess, but it is what it is, you know. I enjoyed the split. So
You're really negative today. Okay, let's toss it around and let's go for another question that I had specifically for you. Because I know the way I'm still trying to get to know you, obviously, but I've been getting some glimpses of the way you work with people and orgs above all. And I noticed you take really proud, like you really like to be with the players, you like to provide as much as you can. It's almost like a family. There's something that always stands out when you play with the team and when you are with the team. So my question to you is, what was your favorite moment with any player, any staff, anyone regarding Raid?
this split.
Yeah,
Uh,
keep it safe for work. That's the cue I got in. Okay.
I think it was. I can't say it. Like.
Oh boy. Okay. I'm glad I
Something in
said.
mind. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
Is there any happy moment you would be willing to say and that it's allowed to say?
I don't know.
Does that mean you had a lot of happy moments, or does that mean
We'll
you're
have-
not
we'll
allowed
have-
to talk
we'll have-
about many of them?
I think we have had so many happy moments. Like the
Yeah.
really enjoyable team. Some of them I was just thinking
Uh-huh.
doesn't fit into a live show, if that makes sense. If I have to get to the fun part of it, I think we have to keep that out of NLC. But yes, I love all of the guys from last split as well. I like them so much. Yeah.
And that's someone that is working in esports in a different way with a different perspective, bringing happiness and bringing enjoyment to the workplace. What would be your dream for 2023? Not only for yourself, but you would really like to see other teams take in as well.
I don't know. I
That
feel
it's
like
allowed to set on broadcast as well.
okay. Well, for myself,
Yeah.
let's see if I can build a roster somewhere with some people.
Mhm.
To be honest, I don't really care about if it's Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. I want to enjoy it. I want to see the potential. I want to feel like I am a part of a winning team. Also, I don't want to be the kind of manager who just shows up and book a scrim, if that makes sense. You know, there's a bunch of managers. All they do is they basically just book scrims and have like the basic contact with whatever league you're playing. If that's what you want from a manager, that's not what you get from me. Like, I want to do so much more. But let's see. Maybe I'm staying at Ray. Maybe I found something else. You never know, you know.
Understandable. Last one, just for you. Would you like to say anything to Jamada?
Imara, I fucking love you.
There you go. Last interview for you of the year. I don't know, but it might be. So I just wanted to give you that highlight. Thank you so much. Thanks, man. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. We'll toss it to a break before we come back with the Yiners interview. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
And we are back with Vendetta. Oh, that is a lovely sweater, man. I wish you could have like a shirt like this with the name on the back as well. I'm committed. Yeah, I'm not biased, Chad. I'm not biased. Okay, this was a gift. Let's move on. So congratulations on today, games. Like it was a 3-0, really clean for you guys. Can you tell me how did you prepare the champion select for today's games? Because it seems like you landed right on the mark versus a rate.
Yeah, I mean, mm, we have an idea about how we think they see the game and the meta, and we obviously saw them play 9 games already. They have a different top laner today. While they've been swapping tops,
Yeah.
so the draft was going to be a little bit different compared to their most recent games. But I think we kind of knew. I mean, we didn't. Nothing happened that we didn't expect, I
Yeah.
guess. But we wanted to see how strong the Varus was in game one, and then take it from there.
So tell me something. How do you specifically prepare as a coach? What is your game plan when you know you have to face a team? Where do you start looking and building up an offensive versus the team? Because you said something as soon as you joined the call. I can only watch, and that's the thing. You prepare your team, but you can only watch. So on the things you can actually work upon, how do you set that up?
Well, obviously we were focusing on both our own performance and the enemy team. For ourselves in the last game we played, we did drop a game and make some silly mistakes, and it was very, very important that we didn't do those types of mistakes today. So there was some emphasis on that. And then for the enemy team, obviously they have patterns, and we try to find them both in the draft and the gameplay, and try to exploit them, and also try to see if we even need to, because maybe it's just better to play to our own strengths.
Okay, so now we can get to the good part, which is let's be spicy. JDXL, next
Mm.
opponent, best of 5, semifinals, one game away from getting finals for Astralis. What do you think is the most important part to tackle versus JDXL? Unpredictable coach. Top planet is completely crazy. The jungle is just smurfing. Morosco is stepping up to the plate. The bot lane, we know until level 3 you can get some gold. What is the important
Yeah.
part versus JDXL?
Well, you mentioned it. I think the bot lane is going to be very important for both teams, and we're going to try to see if we can get the level 3 kill, the post level 3 kill as well, and hopefully we'll be able to carry from there. I think top side, Kyle has grown so much, and I think that he in the regular season as well showed that he can stand up to Cries as well. So yeah, I'm not really super worried about the individual skill matchups. I think it's going to come down to draft, who's better on the day, and then just those small things in the mid game and stuff.
I mean, if you had to, because I think Chrisberg today was just a beast. It's probably the MVP of the game. I don't know between him and Taxat as we debated on the desk. But if you had to, when you look into the best of 5 versus GTXL, it's just a number, like the score. You think it would be reasonable at the end of the day, like a prediction. Just
Prediction?
tossing it to the air. Yeah, just tossing it.
Mm, I think I'm gonna have to go with 3-1 Astralis.
Okay, let me
Yeah.
write that one down. 3-1. Thank you. And when you look into the other side of the bracket, you know Dusty are going to take upon Natives, new team joining the
Mm.
Div 1. Give me a number as well, because that seems like a spicy matchup.
Oh, that's actually, yeah. That's gonna be. I think it's gonna be more interesting than our game
Oh,
because,
really?
yeah, I think so. Because I think that that's gonna be so much. There's gonna be much more fireworks. I think our games are gonna be a little bit more standard, slow paced. We'll see though. I mean,
Hmm. If you had to guess between Dusty and
yeah.
Natives without a number, just
No,
who you think
yeah.
is gonna.
I think it's gonna be a 3-1 as well for Dusty though.
Okay, but there's still one game being stolen away from Dusty.
Yeah, maybe 3-2.
Okay. Okay. Sounds lovely. It's 3-2. Oh boy. Okay. Now I'm getting excited. Now, thank you so much for this one. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, Vendetto. And I'm looking forward for the 3-1 in favor of Astralis. Let's see what happens. Let's see. If you
Yeah.
get a 3-1, I'll wear the shirt.
All right.
Full on broadcast, okay?
That's great. Thank you. I
No problem.
appreciate it.
Vendetto, thank you so much. We'll toss it to the desk right now. You're free to go. So thank you so much, and I'll see you soon,
Yeah.
Vendetto.
Thank you guys. See you.
And we are back 3-1 in favor of Astralis. What do you guys think? I
Oh,
like it. I like these
yeah.
predictions.
I mean, I like the confidence coming from Vendetta. Usually, this guy, he's really reserved, and which I respect. Right, doesn't mean that you're not confident, but to hear his words saying that they're gonna 3-1 JDXL, I like that.
What about you, Tom? Kick, give me your prediction as well.
Yeah, I like it too. I think it's going to be a really interesting game. I feel like that's one of the maybe closest series we're going to get throughout the playoffs. So I feel like this is potentially where it could go to 5 games. Who I'm favoring, I think it's really hard. I think from the start here, they've been showing like 3-0s, both of them pretty easy getting into the semifinal here. But favoring, maybe a bit of Astralis. I think they looked really solid today overall.
It's going to be interesting nonetheless. I don't know if if we are allowed to show the bracket, if we have the bracket available just to show you where we stand right now. It seems like we're moving on. It's not updated yet. We can show the normal one. We just need to add the teams up there. GDXL is already waiting for Astralis. I won today, Dusty versus Natives, and then we have the amazing matchup between Riddle Esports and Bifrost, two teams from Division 1. They've met each other before, so this is also going to be a good one. It's not like I'm ignoring that one. I'm just setting up the stage for Dusty versus Natives because it's the next one we're gonna have. For you guys back in the desk, tell me, Final words of the day. We'll start with M Test because Tom Kick, I think I'll have to say goodbye to you. But M Test, what about you?
I mean, I think today as well showcased a lot of strengths. I really hope that they can keep this up in their match against JDXL. But then I just realized Vendetta is still in the call, so Astralis gonna win Worlds, guys. They're for sure the best team. They are really, really good, and yeah, I'm gonna be excited to be able to watch them.
Tom Kick.
That's a good idea. I think it's been lovely getting to desk some games here. I think it's been so entertaining, so fun. I think it's going to be interesting to be able to watch some of the games, not having to sit there and speak about everything. But I'm going to be enjoying every series from here on.
It was a pleasure to have you, M Test, and you as well, Tom Kick, throughout our Open. I hope to see you guys soon. I know you'll be casting on another game, M Test, so best of luck on that one. Tom Kick, I don't know when I get to see you again, but it's always a pleasure to work with you, and also a pleasure to get to see you guys back at home watching the stream constantly from NLC, Northern League of Legends Championship. You guys are part of the family, so don't forget, keep climbing, don't skip a beat, and I'll see you soon for another quarterfinal from Aurora Open. This is the goodbye.